Resilience is recharging. With our busy lives, we often wonder how we will accomplish everything. We may fantasize about how much work we will do with a block of time slotted for that important project, but when the time comes, we accomplish little. We react to distractions that are not important, and even if we are good at setting priorities, there is always another crisis that seems to distract us. When we look forward to some downtime, we end up needing that all-important relaxation time to meet those deadlines. Why do these distractions deplete us? Current research tells us the problem is not our hectic schedule or the distractions. The problem comes from our misunderstanding of what it means to be resilient and the resulting impact of overworking. The lack of a proper recovery period is dramatically holding back our ability to be resilient and successful. Research shows a direct link between lack of recovery and increased incidence of health and safety problems. And lack of recovery, whether by disrupting sleep with thoughts of work or having continuous cognitive arousal by watching our phones, is costing our company $62 billion a year. That's billion, not million, in lost productivity. We often take a militaristic, tough approach to resilience and grit. We imagine a Marine slogging through the mud, a boxer going one more round, or a football player picking himself up off the turf for one more play. We believe that the longer we tough it out, the tougher we are, and therefore the more successful we will be. However, this entire belief is scientifically inaccurate. Now, let's talk about workaholism. In a 2016 study, researchers found that 8% of Norwegians have become workaholics. The scientists cite a definition of workaholism as being overly concerned about work, driven by an uncontrollable work motivation, and investing so much time and effort to work that it impairs other important life areas. The number of people who fit that definition includes the majority of American workers. Just because work stops, it doesn't mean we are recovering. We stop work sometimes at 5 p.m., but then go home to that all-important dinner time. This special time ought to be spent recharging and enjoying the good with our family. Yet we waste that huge opportunity to share the good from our day, and instead we vent about issues at work. In turn, we give our family incorrect impressions, spreading the idea of workaholism being the way things are supposed to be. Our families may adopt an incorrect view of resilience too, staying up late to finish a school or home project. And then it continues. Instead of winding down our day, we may wind it back up. We may prepare for bedtime with the thoughts of our work failing our minds as we brush our teeth. We try to rest. We know how important quality sleep is. Quality sleep reduces the stress hormone cortisol, helps us to lose weight and to perform at our best. Yet we may spend the night wrestling with solutions to work problems and falling asleep thinking about how much work we'll do tomorrow. As we know, our brain never gets a break as it tries, even while we are sleeping, to organize thoughts from the day and solve problems. Overwork and exhaustion are the opposite of resilience. As mentioned before, we lose $62 billion a year thinking that grit, overwork, and exhaustion is better than resilience. But the loss is also personal. In her excellent book, The Sleep Revolution, Arianna Huffington wrote, "We sacrifice sleep in the name of productivity. But ironically, our loss of sleep, despite the extra hours we spend at work, adds up to 11 days of lost productivity per year per worker." Resilience is recovery. The key to resilience is trying really hard, then stopping, recovering, and then trying again. We often skip the recovery part of this definition, especially when it comes to allowing our brains to recover. The need for recovery is based on biology and homeostasis, which describes the ability of the brain to continuously restore and sustain well-being. Homeostatic value describes the value that certain actions have for creating equilibrium, and thus well-being, in the body. When the body is out of alignment from overworking, we waste a vast amount of mental and physical resources trying to return to balance before we can move forward. Time in the performance zone must be balanced by time in the recovery zone. Otherwise, you risk burnout. When we try hard, we burn energy to overcome our low mental arousal level. This is called upregulation, which contributes to exhaustion. The more imbalanced we become due to overworking, the more value there is in activities that allow us to return to a state of balance. So how do we recover and build resilience? It's not as simple as stopping emails or other work. We wrongly assume that our brain will naturally recover. And when we start again later in the day or the next morning, we will have our energy back. We all have times when we lie in bed for hours, unable to fall asleep because our brain is thinking about work. We may have rested, but we can still feel exhausted the next day. Rest and recovery are not the same thing. Stopping does not equal recovering. We need more. A change of surroundings can help, along with meditation and relaxation. If you are in an office, there is a huge benefit from going outside and enjoying nature. This simple change of environment can help us to recover. To maintain balance, we need activities that have a low mental arousal state, like hobbies, crafts, gardening, or cooking. Resilience at work requires adequate internal and external recovery periods. Internal recovery refers to the shorter periods of relaxation that take place during the workday in the form of short scheduled or unscheduled breaks, or shifting to other work tasks when the mental or physical resources are temporarily depleted or exhausted. External recovery takes place outside of work, in the free time between work days and during weekends, holidays, or vacations. If after work you lie around on your bed and get riled up by political commentary on your phone, or get stressed thinking about decisions about how to renovate your home, your brain has not received a break from high mental arousal states. Our brains need a rest as much as our bodies do. Try strategic stops during the day by using technology to control overworking. Try the instant or moment apps to see how you are spending your time on your phone each day. The average person uses their phone over 150 times every day. If every distraction took only 1 minute, which would be seriously optimistic, that would account for 2.5 hours of every day. You can use apps like Off Time or Unplugged to create tech-free zones by strategically scheduling automatic airplane modes. In addition, you can take a cognitive break every 90 minutes to recharge your brain and batteries. Try to not have lunch at your desk, but instead spend time outside or with your friends, not talking about work. Take all of your paid time off, which not only gives you recovery periods, but raises your productivity and likelihood of promotion.